You and I have both been told that you need to have a 10-bit or a 12-bit sensor to get the look. But your camera, a new camera, or the sensor isn't the problem. It's how you're treating the colors. Most people try to add saturation to their image, but in film, it's not actually about adding. It's actually on the other side of the spectrum. I was going to tell you how to turn your digital color into dense film color, but I could just show you. Think about color like using a highlighter. To get more color, you layer more highlighter. More highlighter layers equals richer, deeper color. And what you're doing is increasing the density. The more layers, the more depth, the more concentrated it gets. The highlighter analogy proves the physics, but let me explain the feeling of density with the Japanese cheesecake trend. Here's everything I'm going to add. We're starting with the sour oat yogurt as the foundation. Think of this as your raw footage. It's light, it's airy, but it's kind of flat. I'm going to add some vanilla extract and a little sweetener to nullify the sour part. Think of this as your basic corrections. I'm now going to put this mixture into the cup. Think of this cup as the in and out CST node. The yummy mixture lives inside the cup. Do you get it? Now look at what happens when you add the biscuits. As we crush these biscuits into the glass, we aren't just adding volume, we're increasing the total mass. The more biscuits we pack in, the thicker, the richer the mixture becomes. A half cup of thin yogurt becomes a full cup of dense dessert. This technique doesn't just make the colors louder, it makes the data feel heavier. Now there is no after or mukbang because I ate the thing while watching Cowboy Bebop with my wife. It was delicious. It was actually one of the best things I've probably made this year. 10 out of 10, would recommend.
Mods, rip his balls off.
Where the logic we just learned really matters is out in the real world.
Hello, Future Will here. I need you to understand how film works and how your camera works. Once you understand how your camera works, you'll know how to weaponize it. This video is mainly about color and exposure. And if you don't get those two things looking right in camera, it won't look good in post. Anyways, enjoy the video. Bye.
I guess me and you can wax poetics. How could it be hard, my precious? Can't lie, what we got is magnetic. I vibe with your aesthetic. Yeah, I lied, yeah, I vibe with your genetics. And you can say just what you want to like.
The exposure rule. My rule is simple. Expose to preserve the highlights in camera, and once you're in the grade, preserve that brightness. It's been snowing this month, and it's basically a nightmare for exposure. And it would be a nightmare to expose if I wasn't preserving the highlights. If overexposing is a stylistic choice, then by all means go for it. But if you are overexposing snow, just know that it's gonna turn out flat, a whole bunch of white nothingness, and you lose that crunchy, flaky texture from the ground.
Another thing to keep in mind is something I call perceived brightness. If you film everything in the snow and your perceived bright point is at, let's say 768 right here on your parade scope. If you continue to grade everything to 700, that will be your perceived bright point. That's the brightest part of your image. But if you then change that bright point from 768 to 1023, you've now broken the perceived bright point. So when I show you this image, and it's clear that this side is darker than this side, but I have more details here, and I don't have those same details here. if I continue to show you clips with this bright point, you'll just become used to this bright point. But if I go to another clip and I show you stuff at this bright point, your brain will recognize that this bright point isn't the same bright point. What I'm saying is, just because you have a full spectrum doesn't mean you should utilize the full spectrum when it comes to working on contrast, exposure, and your blacks. I like to set my brightest point to where the camera recorded it the brightest. So this is what my camera recorded. This is what it looks like raw. I'm not adding exposure. I'm keeping it at the same level. I'm just adding contrast. I'm making everything that's supposed to be darker. I'm adding saturation. So anything that's supposed to have color has color, but I'm not making the clip brighter. I hope that helps.
So I expose specifically to keep details in the brightest part of the image. The temptation is to crank the exposure up to make it pop, but just don't do that. If you add exposure in post, you're adding digital gain to your image. We don't want gain. Gain bad, no good, no good. By doing that, it'll thin out your colors. Instead, use the heavy print logic, which is to match the natural brightness that you captured in camera. By keeping your highlights soft and unaltered, you can shift your focus from exposing to building density. Doing it this way, your footage will be able to attain the rich, filmic weight that I've been speaking about. Without even looking at my footage, I already know that every single clip I filmed is usable.
I want you stressing whenever we apart, girl. I be obsessing. Go on and let your head down. Told you no pressure. We really locked in, locked in. And I know the answers. If you wanna get somewhere, when it all comes together, I just wanna know you want it. How much you like? Won't you pull up on me? If I'm your type, don't you really want me? I might be fucked up with you. I got issues I can't complete without you. Baby, I guess this love will make your body rise for me, and my words will make you move your thighs to me. This a marathon and you gon' stride to me. How can I get, yeah? If we on the dance floor, is you gon' rock with me? Just you and I, is you really locked with me? If it's alive, then keep it alive with me. Who's really got to give what you want? About time that you get what you.
I took my 8-bit camera to Suomenlinna. Fins, correct me if I'm butchering that. And I went there with a friend to film some memories. Usually when you're filming touristy footage, it's gonna look kind of boring, sharp, and thin. The camera doesn't do a good job of recording your experience. And usually after filming, you watch the clips and store them somewhere in the hard drive and forget that you even filmed that day. But watch what happens when we stop trying to brighten the footage and instead add density to it. Do you see how cranking additive saturation is changing the exposure of the clip? It's killing your image because it's adding something you never intended to add. Exposure. We take those flat basic shots and turn them into rich, expensive family archives. And by doing that, we're moving closer to cinema. And we're doing it on the same 8-bit sensor they told you to upgrade. Can you imagine that? Look, 8-bit has its limitations, but if you like the scene well, no one will ever know. How would they know?
How would they know?
My run and gun camera is an 8-bit sensor. It's a Sony a7 III. Because I know the camera has less color information compared to an FX3, which is a 10-bit sensor, I usually always do two things or else the shot's just not gonna look that good. One, I make sure I film with the right colors in the real world. And number two, I make sure that I expose the image in camera correctly. Preserve your highlights by any means necessary, unless it's a stylistic choice, and don't worry too much about your shadows. If you're adding a good amount of contrast to your image, your shadows won't be an issue in post. To make your footage look like film, do it my way, which is the same way it happens in film. Colors like blue, red, orange, skin, even eyes for some people, pop without it being forced. I add this one node called film density, and all of a sudden, it feels rich, it feels heavy, and it looks expensive. It automatically stops looking like a digital video and it starts feeling more like a memory, which is also why I built the heavy print power grade. I filmed 100% of this video with an 8-bit sensor to show you that the look starts way before you even film. With this power grade, I don't even have to think about the small things. I know my colors are gonna be rich. I know my exposure is gonna be perfect. And I know my highlights will be what am I, the president? And I know my highlights will be preserved. Shout outs to Obama, what the hell? The power grade also comes with other tools to get you across the finish line. Things like film density, film weight, my grain preset, clean blacks, and 5 other temperature tools. All the tools included are modular, so you can use them on other power grades and your own. The idea was to make a power grade that simplifies all the brain work and makes it easy and fun to use. There's also currently a 20 for 20 discount. The first 20 people get 20% off. Please stop worrying about your gear and focus on what you already have, your story. Let the tools and the power grade do the final 20% for you. Subscribe and like the video. Subscribe and like this is fucking embarrassing. Subscribe and like the, oh my God. I'm one of them. I have become them. I've just become self-aware. I am a YouTuber.